called? The squeaking.
Of the swings.
The swing in the
I
distance.
don't think that
Possibly.
the microphone will pick it up.
It's a very high pitched sound, pretty much. Yeah.
Let's quiet and let's hear. Let's see if I'll see if the waveforms hit.
You're gonna hear like in the distance.
I mean, I can't tell. Why am I trying to
Yeah.
read this as if it's like
Does it make sense?
like a live number saying, "Hey, yes, we hear the squeaking
It's
in
a
that
light-
distance."
Like the lie detector, kind of.
Yeah, we're looking at the lie detector right here.
Also, something weird that happened yesterday was like, I was just sitting out here and there's like two girls in the swings in the distance, right behind our house, and I just hear like kind of a weird like, or something like I don't know, like just little girls, like like 8-6-year-olds, swinging, like. Is that coming from one of the girls? Like, I understand like there's a squeaking sound of like the swings, but there's some odd weird sound that I kept on hearing every like 30 seconds or so. I was like, what? I don't know.
They were playing tennis, dude.
It's just a weird. Like, I don't know if they're just making random sounds, but like one individual is just making that weird sound. I don't know.
I would assume like that's a thing. Like I don't know. I remember that from like middle school, or no, not middle school, elementary school.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 9. It was like 9.
Like we didn't have recess in middle school, obviously. In elementary school though, definitely.
Just random sounds.
Just when you're on the swing, you gotta find some more fun. Like yeah, you're having fun on the swing, but you gotta have more fun. You gotta have more.
Okay, yeah.
You gotta be
either talking. If you're not talking with anyone.
If you're not okay, so here's your options. Option A, you're talking with someone. Option B, you're trying to make the world record jump on the swing.
I was gonna break my leg doing that. There's so many times where
I
I just had to,
love
like, stop
doing
myself. Completely, it's like, oh no, I'm too high.
I
Not
can never
knowing
get
anything about
distance.
I always had distance, but
I
it
was
was just
always
I had
up.
no landing. So you would see me fly, and I'll be somehow sideways and just crash.
I don't think any of us, when we were younger, we understood the physics at all.
Oh no, we
We
didn't.
were thinking like, okay, the higher I go, the further I'm gonna go. Nope,
Yeah.
doesn't work that way.
It's lateral motion.
I wonder if anybody successfully like kind of like did it so hard that it wrapped around, technically while on it still.
I don't know if on it. I don't know.
I
if
seen
that's...
someone get close
Oh,
here.
really? I feel like you're gonna hit your head on like the middle part, pretty much.
Yeah, because
Yeah, when you
gravity.
well, you would have to commit the whole way through to swing completely around. If you don't, you're just gonna go down.
Just imagine as a child, just like, I'm gonna commit.
You
They
you'd
hit
have
the
to
middle.
be.
Fuck.
You would have to be so
Alright.
smart as a kid to understand. I have to commit. Although I remember as a kid learning how the physics of a swing works, and you're not gonna believe where I got it from. I got it from watching The Simpsons. There was an episode when Homer is on a motorbike, and he's like in this cage.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Lisa tells him, you have to basically commit, and you have to go, accelerate, so he makes the whole way through.
That was on the movie, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Possible. I don't know. I remember.
That's when that was on the movie.
We did watch a fair amount of episodes
That's
of
true, that's true.
The Simpsons.
It might have been the movie though. I'm not sure. I
I'm
remember
sure it was
from
the
movie
movie
partly.
though, because there's the whole motorbike thing at the end too.
Okay, then that's probably where it's from.
I remember when I was like riding swings and stuff. It's like you're going up. It's like, oh wait, this is too high. Like when you're starting to like just let go, and you're just like, I don't commit. Never mind.
I
And you just get lower distance overall.
don't know. I had so much fun jumping off swings.
I
That
couldn't
was
get the momentum
that was so
to
fun.
swings down. Like when to kick out.
I think when one kid got hurt, that's when teachers were like, "Yeah,
Oh,
you're not
stop
allowed
that.
to do that anymore."
I feel like it should be a competition now, even though like
A
technically.
Red Bull competition. They
Yeah,
had paper
yeah.
throwing, man. Paper airplane throwing.
In Red Bull,
Yes.
Yeah, I would assume that would be a thing.
can we jump into this? I know this sounds like
Wait.
like this is a potential rabbit hole, but
Well, okay, go for it.
can we jump into how ridiculous Red Bull is just plastered on everything?
What do you mean exactly? Like, you're talking about like extreme sports,
Like
Weird sports.
they
odd
have
stuff.
they got sponsored competitions of everything.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
they have sports teams around the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
They got esports.
They have esports.
They gotta put the brand out, you know. That's
They
what
They
the
got
brand
music.
They got
exactly.
Red Bull Music.
You
Like
know?
they got a lot of.
defying.
Are they the
gravity.
only company to do this? Like
Probably not.
semi-successfully?
I think Manscaped's doing a lot now.
Manscaped.
I don't know about to
I'm
their
not-
level, but they're just like in random places overall, talking about like trimming your like pretty much trimming
As
your
a-
balls, trimming your nose and stuff. I just like watch the UFC. It's like it's brought to you by Manscaped. I don't know, some clean shaving stuff.
Oh, meaning
down
like
there.
because
Where you're
I've
sponsoring events and sponsoring
Yeah.
like specific players or teams.
You never know what could happen. You
Like-
know, I would personally love like if I was part of a team. I think I want something out of the ordinary where I just like Manscaped. You know, like something that's like not usual, right?
like imagine if you went and I'm trying to find a good sport. I guess the MLS is a good idea to pick at because they're always willing to put anything as their
No.
names.
Marbles. That
Marbles.
became a thing during the COVID situation.
Marbles.
Yes.
Marble racing?
Marble racing.
Okay.
People were
so,
actually sponsoring those individual marbles.
So imagine if
yeah.
you went on Twitch or YouTube and the first thing that is highlighted is Manscaped Marble Racing.
I would love that. Just automatic click right there, right?
Is that an insta click for you?
Insta click. Or I would wait a little while. I wouldn't like click it at first, to be honest. but
I've
if it was
seen
a
it
different
enough.
game, if I had nothing else to do, maybe, just maybe, yeah.
I would look at the first word and be like, what is a manscape or whatever. But if I saw marble racing, yes, I would. I would instantly click it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing actually. Check that out. The guy did it like once a year, something like that alone. But then they actually got sponsored by ESPN
Oh wow.
and stuff to do it because there's no sports. There's still no sports on technically, really.
Actually, speaking of which, we've talked about Red Bull Gaming, but I think I was watching the sort of like the downfall of like the not like esports, but like of esports organizations. I think it was like on the score,
With the Echo Fox one?
the Echo Fox one.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be the new thing.
Wait, what do you mean?
Let's have like because of that these organizations like always fail. It's like why not? Is that a tune buggy? Oh, never mind.
That's a Jeep.
That's cheap. But why not? Why don't we get like actual teams of just like a sponsored thing? Let's get Manscaped Gaming on here, and there'll be a League of Legends team. There'll be a CS:GO team.
That could work maybe. But again, like there's certain teams that like do well generally.
I mean, of course there's like the homemade ones like TSM,
Yeah, like-
CLG. Like
yeah.
they're always gonna be around.
Yeah, they did it early. They came into the industry early and was able to
Yeah.
get the particular what's the term? The audience for that.
Yeah,
and
I
kinda
honestly
generally
think that's the
expanded
best way to
upon it.
do it rather than what Overwatch did.
Well, the thing about Overwatch, I don't know if we can ever go into because Nick would probably feel left out.
I know about Overwatch. I just don't play it.
Yeah, the thing is
No,
that
the whole
I will
org
go
situation.
into an entire rant if we ever get into the Overwatch discussion because of how the esports does not work there.
It
Well-
really doesn't.
All right, let's just talk about it. Screw it.
Let's talk about it. Okay, let's
Yeah,
talk
I
about
don't,
it.
like I better. It's better to be informed than not
You're right.
informed, if anything.
So, Overwatch League is sort of like a structural thing where, every team now has like NFL or NBA owners
Yeah.
kind of sponsoring it.
Yeah.
And I guess the sales pitch to these owners was, oh, we're going to have these teams in specific locations across the USA for
Yep.
the inauguration
I
of
know about that.
league.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's
Yeah.
one team in Korea, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Seoul Dynasty, I believe it was.
Seoul Dynasty, but they also have the Shanghai Dragons.
Shanghai Drag. Oh, well, that was
And then London Spitfire.
okay. So whatever. They're very specific places.
Yeah.
The issue that I have about that is you're not representing the city because you're not grabbing players from that city. Your organization is not based in that city because your organization is in California because that's where they hold all the events.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree. So I'll hit you in one point at least. First off, at least for the individuals based within having players based within those cities, like originally grew up or something like that in those cities,
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine not to have them in the cities, right?
Yeah.
That's in all sports where
Yeah.
it's coming from
Yeah,
all
yeah,
different
yeah.
directions, right? At least for the sense of not kind of like training in those cities
Yeah.
and not having events in that particular city.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird when they're calling it like a particular city
Yeah.
name and everything is just they're all living in California or it's all happening in
Yeah.
California.
I think
that's a weird
They
to
did not set that up.
yeah. So
Oh.
to further kind of like what I was talking about at that first point, I think Michael remembers this, but I think the inaugurational league, like the first season, wasn't New York just full of guys from Korea,
And London.
and the London Spitfire as well was all Korean teams.
It's like 10 Korean players.
And I thought that was really weird.
Yeah,
like
that's
you know what I mean? Like I would expect from a London Spitfire team, I want to see more British
English
talent.
players.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
English players couldn't make it to the league.
was it because of like some kind of?
Their just team didn't make it. They were always in the second league.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That's
It's
right.
like because
The
the
tr-
owners
tryouts.
and other people wouldn't, buy the players to play
Yeah.
for the teams. Everyone just wanted the Koreans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit weird still.
That was just the reason why I brought that up. It was just I just felt like if you are going to represent the city of London, because I think they eventually won.
Yes,
You don't like imagine. Like, did they do a parade or anything
they
anything
had
based in
a
London?
fan event in London.
Yeah. I just feel like that's weird. Like
It is. Yeah.
I think that people from London would be like, oh, well, it's not like any of
Yeah.
us. It's just these international folk that somehow represent our city.
I think what would be better, at least, is maybe just in a smaller sense. Divide up the. I mean, again, I don't know too much about the situation, but like, you know how the NFL. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say this fully because it doesn't fully relate in a sense. So you know how like NFL, NBA generally has two leagues in a sense. It kind of like divides up the whole
Yeah.
entire roster, etc.
Yeah.
Even though technically those particular areas that like sometimes they're still in the same state or in states
Yeah.
close by at least. I think a similar concept where you would have two leagues in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe four leagues, whatever, that has district, like they have their I don't know, that would cost a bunch though. Having individual like Southwest or like Southeast, Northeast,
Conferences?
Northwest, like conferences almost.
Yeah.
Right? Even like different countries,
I honestly
UK,
think-
Europe, etc.
They would have all just worked out if they just kept it. They didn't start off with the league immediately. Just went the League of Legends route.
Where you have
The scenes
these-
grow from those
yeah.
areas, and then have competitions within those regions, and then a world competition at the end of the year.
I will say though, Overwatch does what Overwatch does well is their World Cup. I do like their sort of sense of all right, we'll take the best talent of every country, and they will just
Yeah.
knockout style. That is like one of the most hype things I've ever seen. Like I wish more
Esports. Did
esports did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find that really interesting.
But who watches esports anymore, really?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It does feel weird that in 2020, in a time of quote unquote quarantine, esports is sort of like that should have been like like maybe that will be like the thing that will be, more popular for this year. But it's like it feels like it's been maybe because all three of us have been unengaged.
Yeah, unengaged and kind of away from it all.
I don't know the viewership numbers, but
Me neither.
for team-based esports games, I feel like it's lost its shine over the years.
Maybe it's just for us. I think for up and coming individuals, there's also like for at least the gaming industry, there is always something new that comes up,
Yeah.
right? At least for like NBA, NFL, MMA.
You just stick to one thing.
Yeah, it's like okay, no one's gonna be like, yeah, this year these new sports are coming out, right?
Yeah.
No, it's nothing like that, right? And it's simply just
That's like the
more.
one problem with it for me. It's like, well, we're not really engaged because when do we even play the games?
yeah. So you have to be invested in playing games. Or,
I would say though,
Something like
in
that,
2020
maybe.
we
Some
are due for a new
Big thing.
big game.
It's gonna be Valorant.
and I think
probably.
I think it'll be Valorant.
That's just locked.
And I think that, but the thing is, I feel like I don't know, they haven't marketed as the esports.
They
yet.
don't
Not
want
yet.
to. They don't want to.
they don't want to.
They haven't.
No.
Okay.
They said they wanted to grow from grassroots first.
Okay.
They're not gonna start a league until orgs do their own thing like they did with League.
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
will actually commend Riot Games for that. Then I will actually commend.
Apparently, that was like they said after watching what happened with Overwatch.
I
were
think
like,
they
no.
understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they realized how badly. Because at this point, because of the Overwatch League being such a failure, it is much harder now to
Yes.
try to convince the owner of like the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Houston Rockets to say, hey, we have an organization. We're going to be basing off this video game. We're going to be an esport team. We need some financial backing. That's going to be difficult.
Honestly, a lot of it had to do with just poor marketing and poor sales pitches, and just I don't know what the hell the vision was, like
What do you mean?
just telling the owners like what their plans were, like the future of everything, but then going into like shady practices like boosting viewership numbers on Twitch.
Oh, is that what Overwatch did?
Yeah,
Oh,
because there was a consistent 40,000 every game,
Oh.
but it was more like 5,000
Yeah.
to 10,000.
Yeah, it's
Because what they would do is they would embed the Overwatch League as ads on websites that would live stream.
yeah.
That play the live stream.
I've noticed that actually. I would go on like fandom wikia to sort of like
Yeah.
about video games, and you would see like embedded streams. I'm like, I wonder if that counts as me watching
Yes.
a stream.
Well, at least it did for Overwatch.
Because like, say that you're looking up a game guide and you're like trying to figure out something, and then you see like, oh, someone's streaming the game that you're looking up, and it's like, oh, is my viewership count?
Yep.
It's like a donation.
Yeah. I'm done with that stuff nowadays. I mean, it's still interesting.
Like I feel like the only consistent one's fighting games, but there's just not enough big viewership for it.
Yeah, it's hard to get a big draw because that's very. I mean,
And then there's also like obviously like CS:GO. I don't know. I just hate like the PC gaming. Like
I think here's the
Yeah.
crazy thing. You kind of reminded me since you brought up CS:GO. I came back to CS:GO last week, 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
I think the only amount of people that I ever talked to that were talking on comms were all European, and I
Yeah.
think that the European scene is way bigger now.
yeah, I think so. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, they win, at least from my understanding, they win a large proportion of the tournaments.
I think, like, I just feel like Europe has like this, I don't know, like a huge surge of like esports, and while the U.S. has just tanked, like America in general has just tanked. It's really
we
interesting.
don't win.
That's one thing. Yeah,
Okay.
we're not as skilled, sadly.
It's not that we're
Actually, if you
not
really
that we're
think
not
about
skilled. We don't have the fucking work ethic.
I mean, okay, so I don't know how, I mean, you guys, I know you guys have kind of been detached from like streaming and whatever.
I
gaming.
watch some still, technically.
Okay,
here,
but
here and there.
I've heard from people like, like Lily Pichu, right? You guys know who she is, right?
But yeah,
It was so
That's cool.
like she was. I think her and her friends were explaining like esport, like being a part of an esports organization here in America. I guess it's like how degenerate, like some
degenerate.
like
Well,
they're how trashy and kind of like shady some of these organizations were.
Oh,
So it's just like it is work ethic. Like
Yeah.
one, like it's why like they capitulate. Like work ethic, I just like a lack of professionalism, I suppose.
Yeah, that too.
Because like if you think about it, look, like the Fanatics, the Splice, although Unicorns of Love like disbanded, like still like most of these European teams still exist.
yeah.
Like, can you believe that one Russian team? What's that one Russian team that was really?
Gambit.
I think Gambit. Yeah. Gambit still
That
exists, dude.
Surprisingly,
There's also NJP.
it's not the same.
Yeah, Ninjas in Pajamas still exists.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
But I
man.
think also, I think definitely it's come to a cultural, cultural kind of mentality
Yeah.
of working harder on things. At least for like the organizational part, I think you can get away, at least in America compared to like the EU, some sort of you
Yeah.
can get away with a lot more. I mean, in the sense of competitionally, because
Yeah.
people you're against, at least. There is also generally, in a lot of the cases, there's generally the market for it. Not always, in a lot of cases.
Okay, I want to diverge a little bit, but I also want to hear what you guys think about sort of, because I think it ties into esports, It's weird that we're talking about esports, man.
I mean,
It's engaging,
It's
but
okay.
it's like, I guess since it's a pilot episode, who cares? But team culture. Do you think that because this goes for any sport, right? Because I feel like in America the mentality is you follow individuals, not teams, and that's why it succeeds more. The teams exist and will continue to thrive.
partly, yeah.
Because in
That's what I
EU they
expected.
really have that team culture. They really do love their
Individual
their
teams.
hometown team or whatever, compared to here in America.
I
where-
feel like no, I would have to argue like that's still here in the U.S. Like
Yeah.
you still have, like Boston, for example.
Oh yeah, Boston's strong. I can't do it.
It depends. There's like two aspects of it, right? I agree and disagree in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Where people are, I guess it depends on the areas and depends on what type of team they support.
Yeah, it depends on the area, team, and then player as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
in some cases, like for the longest time, I was a CLG fan. Even though people moved, etc., I was still a CLG
Okay.
fan. But at the same time, there are a few different individuals that I was very heavily a fan of as well. So
Yeah.
when they moved teams, I was still a fan of them.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me a fan of that individual team. Maybe not as strongly as before, in
Right.
a sense. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. There are a lot of people, at least for Cloud9, the people I was friends with, were just like, they were all Cloud9. Even though people left, people changed, etc.
Yeah.
They were still fans of Cloud9 still. Right?
Like I think like a good example of this is let's just look in like a different sport.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, dude, just look at us.
What do you mean?
Like, I ain't a Hornets fan.
Hey man, I'm a Hornets fan.
I'm like, sure,
I
I'll go to
root for
games.
the Hornets.
I'll root for them, sure.
I root for the
but
Hornets, man.
given that our track record's not the best, and I don't see us doing anything
But
for
Michael
like the next
Jordan.
10 years.
Michael Jordan's no.
I will agree though. Like
Joking.
Because it's
there
like,
is
who do I root for? I root for players.
Mhm.
Like, I like Blake Griffin.
yeah.
I like D Rose.
Yeah.
Do I like the Pistons? No.
Okay.
As an organization? No.
But there are some people who are very, very dedicated that are just like, this is my like, I live here, this is my team. I don't
Yeah.
care, it's the
Exactly.
only one.
Okay.
Like, I
So
don't
'cause
care if I'm losing,
I'm
I
really
love-
like that. Like
Right?
I will root for the Hornets forever, but they always lose, and we're never gonna make the playoffs for the next 4 or 5 years.
Don't say that, it's gonna happen.
It might happen if we get more draft picks. Okay, we're not gonna make this a sports podcast, but
Who knows? Everybody could get injured, and all the other teams, all the best players could get
Yeah,
injured.
yeah, they're
too.
all in
Exactly.
Orlando
Yeah,
right
listen.
now. They could all get sick.
yes,
Exactly.
2021 season, Miles Bridges is gonna be MVP. That's my guy, though, man.
No, dude, Terry Rozier.
Terry Rozier is gonna be All NBA. He's gonna be an All NBA guard next year. Just you wait. Well, you heard it here first. But here's the thing, like I like, because my favorite player is Donovan Mitchell, and so I will root for the Utah Jazz. But obviously I will still, and I still think Michael Jordan made the wrong choice and should have drafted Donovan Mitchell. But I will still root for the Hornets. No matter
See, I
what.
feel like I'm like the opposite though. For like Panthers though, I'll root for Panthers. Okay, let's use it.
Because they were
It
close
is
to winning a
big.
Super Bowl. I technically wasn't close, but
Well, we made it
They
to the
made it to
Super
the
Bowl.
Well, the thing is,
a
if
few
you make it to the
times.
Super Bowl, you technically are close.
yeah, that's what I
it's
mean.
close
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Closest we'll ever get.
I mean, we make it to the Super Bowl like what, twice in the last 20 years?
2 decades, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! Impressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Runner-ups.
Also, I like how what's it called? The Carolinas are combined together, at least for like
Yeah.
basketball and football in a sense. Over like
And now
even though they're
soccer.
South Carolina, it's
Yeah.
like Panthers go.
I
Even though it's
think
like
the craziest thing is I've never experienced that like NFL vibe of like everyone goes to one city to go watch the game until we went to go see the international soccer sort of exhibit thing. And I was just like, wow, I want to go see a Panthers game now. Because we've only seen them on TV. But I just love that kind of vibe of like everyone coming from everywhere to just go see one game. And it's just like, and it's like you stop by the restaurant. Oh, are you going to go? Are you like, the people are like, oh yeah, you're going to go watch that game? I was like, yeah, man. I don't know. I really like that shit. It's like
Yeah, like we stopped by like what was it?
we're in Salisbury.
Yeah, we
Where
weren't
is
even
this?
at Charlotte yet because we
Oh.
had to take a pit stop for food.
I had to say it the most southern way possible. Salisbury.
Salisbury.
Well, what's it called? we went to get food, right?
Uh-huh.
And we were just wearing jerseys. And then
Yeah.
just the people who were like working there were just, hey, you gonna go see the game that's over there?
Yeah, down in Charlotte. And
It-
yeah.
Or was it live? I mean,
Yeah.
like, was it live as in, like, on television and stuff?
It was actually on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, this might have been why they, and partly why they asked, or, like, one of the reasons. in a
Well, I mean,
sense.
no, we weren't the only people there at the restaurant
Yeah, there's
but
a lot
still.
of people.
wearing jerseys. And we weren't even in Charlotte yet.
Yeah.
But we were just like,
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like that's super cool. Like I think that's like the stuff in sports that I really love. It's just like, I don't know if like, you know, say esports,
How's
esports will
that?
ever get there.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
'Cause everything's online for that.
Yeah.
At least and it's hard to. They don't have the infrastructure where.
Although I want to say maybe the FGC, the fighting games community, when they all go to Evo, that's sort of that vibe.
So I'm gonna.
That's more for players.
I'm also gonna say this. I think this comes to a contribution as well. Is that think of the individual market that esports is hitting.
Yeah.
What is the age range exactly? It's about mid 20s, and then
Yeah.
early teens and stuff. They don't really have the spending power to like. First off, you can watch everything online, so that's one
Yeah.
aspect of it,
It's
right?
free.
And there's not as much of a thrill. I mean, technically there is somewhat of a thrill, but less of a thrill watching it in person, right? So a lot of these different big organizations for sports, generally how they make their income is specifically through the sales, ticket sales.
Ticket sales,
right?
yeah.
And esports doesn't really have that as much. First off, you're in a market that doesn't really have a lot of spending, or at least in those individuals who have a lot of money to spend.
Yeah.
And number two is everything can be watched online, so you don't have to really worry about like going to in person because there's no like actual real action
Yeah.
in a sense. Even though it is thrilling to some extent, it may not be as maybe a little bit different through other like physical contact sports.
I really wonder though, 'cause it is really a cultural thing. Because you go look at China, you go look at Korea, and how amazing they sell that shit.
Well, it's a
Like the way that they present the spectacle is way just. It's just a spectacle, man. It's
Yeah, I think it's
amazing to see.
yeah, that's a cultural difference. Also, so some of those, I don't know. At least for China, I know they have a high population in the sense where they can actually.
Yeah, it's
have
like there's
those large
enough
spectacles.
people.
There is enough people for any hobby,
really.
essentially.
And for Korea, I think it's just
That's culture because
yeah.
since StarCraft hit like big, it's like esports were taken seriously at that point.
Yeah. But America is just different overall.
All right, do you want to go into some other topics? We got
Yes.
some ideas.
Oh yeah, so yeah, something happened to me. So I guess a few weird things that happened to me. One of which I told earlier about the swing, but the other one
Yeah.
was I was just sitting in the back patio here. I forgot, I think I was just studying or something like that. Reading one of the books I had, and I just randomly see like a girl in the neighborhood just walking her dog on a leash, and out of nowhere I saw like a cat right behind her, like kind of like almost following her. Cause I know there's like a one not really stray cat that somebody owns somewhere.
What color was the cat?
It was like grayish.
Grayish.
So
That's down.
So wait, no. There is one cat that's like particularly an outdoor cat that somebody has in a
Yes.
sense. But this one was a little bit different. It was like following this girl while she was walking her dog. And in the distance, I was like, that's kind of odd. I guess it's like maybe it's a stray cat and she's coincidentally following her. And at one point, I see in the distance at the parking lot behind my house, I see her like go underneath the car, and then also just like the cat just randomly look at me and stuff. I was like, what? But then like start following the woman and the dog consistently. I was like, okay, that's still a bit weird, but like, okay, let me not worry about it. About 40 or 30 minutes later, I go into the front patio and just sit there and stuff. And I randomly see that one girl again in the distance. Like, there's a bush. I saw her over the bush and stuff with her dog. And then I randomly hear, Albert, come here, or something like that. And I see the cat coming out of the bushes and they're basically following her. I was like, what?
Trained cat.
She like randomly like waved at me or something like that. I kind of waved back. Is that like, again, this cat had no leash whatsoever. It was like just freely just walking with her in a sense, like. So I guess she was taking her on a walk, like the cat on a walk or something like that.
Maybe an outdoor cat. So
Maybe it's an outdoor cat going on a huge agility course. Like, let's go under here. Let's go through here.
That's just seriously just random. It's like walking kind of like behind.
Thanks for stopping by the podcast.
Does your
Mr. Bird.
your audio that you get for your music, Paulo?
It's interesting. It has like a little like a bop, 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 bop. Yeah, I like the waveform.
But anyways, it's like that was just a weird moment. I was okay. Somebody's walking their dog on a leash, and their cat is just following them around. Technically, I don't know. I've never seen something like that before. It's just like
It's just a regular like seeing. I don't know, because we haven't had pets, so we can't
yeah.
sort of like. Although Michael has been begging for a pet.
Want a
He hasn't
dog.
said it. He hasn't said it explicitly, but he will just, he will give off the vibe like, man, I kind of want a dog.
I'll say it explicitly. I already said it. I'm trying to convince my dad to get a pet.
But isn't
Like,
Adrian
no.
like allergic to everything?
He's trying to. He actually did his research.
I did my research. There are hypoallergenic dogs and stuff. You're
Yeah.
not completely
Uh-huh.
like not allergic to the dog.
You're gonna have to
Like
like.
some people, it's like
let's see, 'cause,
what's it
yeah.
called? They're just allergic to the saliva, and
Oh,
the
okay.
dog's fur is fine with
Yeah.
the person. So, because I was talking to my classmates, and one of them is allergic to dogs, but they have a dog because
Yeah.
they're hypoallergenic dogs. I'm like, well, we can find one of those, because I'm like, I'm getting worn out with Adrian. I'm sure Adrian can wear out the dog.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he can.
I'm just gonna say this right now. Having a dog is pretty much like a pre-step. I could is a pre-step to like almost having a baby in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You have to take care
Oh,
of it. And
yeah,
stuff. You have to
yeah,
give it
for
attention.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, okay, you guys kind of already grew up your little brother in a sense, so you
Yeah.
already have that like infrastructure. The only things you have to deal with is like, okay, you gotta potty train it and stuff. Gotta
Yeah.
feed
Potty
it,
train, feed, walk.
walk.
I just feel like there's just too much benefits.
Gotta
to
give
having a dog.
attention. It's basically just like your little brother, you know?
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
thing
same
basically,
thing.
except for more intelligent.
Oh shit.
Probably.
And also can probably make you more happy. So
Yeah, a bit
Yeah.
more obedient too.
yeah. If you tell your little brother to sit, won't. Tell a dog to sit, perfect.
Dude, that is so true. Oh my god.
Will actually go to bed.
Yeah, the dog will actually.
Happy to see you when you get home.
Dude, Adrian has a problem. I don't want to interject, but he just doesn't go to bed, dude.
He does it.
He doesn't.
Oh, really?
We hear him just in the middle of the night, just leave his room.
What is he doing?
He
He's just-
always wants a mom tuck. He wants, my mom to
Tuck him in.
No. Is he too
Um,
old for that?
Dude, he is.
Yes.
He should be going to bed on his own. Because he's what now, 10?
10.
You still have to like tell him to go to bed still.
We do.
Yeah.
Lock his door.
Then he'll cry.
I'm sorry.
He'll cry.
I can't get out. Oh, that's horrible.
Because it's weird, because when we moved here, we were 10, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we did that on our own. We did all that shit on our own. It's weird.
We had each other. He's
That's
just
the thing.
Him.
Well, okay, that's true. Well, the thing is that what I'm meaning is just to say, oh, let's go, like, it's time to go to bed, we go to bed.
Yeah.
You know? Obviously we don't, because we just, or I mean, like, we don't walk out of our rooms
Yeah.
if we're told to go to bed. If we are told to shower, we shower. At least he does that now.
Uh-huh.
Does he clean after himself when he eats? No, he doesn't. We do that by now. But yeah, it's weird. So, do you want to keep talking about your fascination of wanting a dog?
Yes, I want a dog.
Let's go back to that.
I want a dog.
What type of dog? Wait, what type of dog would you like? If Adrian wasn't in the mix and you could choose any dog you want,
Any dog I want. I would
Like-
still get the one that's hypoallergenic, the one I wanted. I still don't know how to
just
pronounce
in
it.
case. What was it called?
It's like Samoyed.
Samuoid?
Samoyed? Samoyed?
I've
Wait,
heard
wait.
of Samuoid.
Okay. Can you type this out? I just wanna see how to actually pronounce it.
I saw
What it
someone
looks like.
drew a picture of one, and in my brain I translated it
these.
as Samuoid.
Well, when I think of like,
I say Samoyed.
when I,
Because that's what you tell me.
Yeah.
when I think of some like you saying somebody drew a picture of it, I just think of like a kid drawing it.
Yeah,
And it
Adrian
just
drawing
doesn't
the
look
dog.
doesn't look like a dog at all. So yeah, this is
No,
a good
it's a
portrayal, but I think I
pretty
understand it.
realistic picture of one, and I was like, okay, that's what that is.
Oh, it's a Siberian Russian breed. It's
The only problem is I would probably have to move somewhere cooler, because
They
might
can
get too
deal.
hot for
They
them.
can deal with heat, and kind of. You can't like. Take
I would
them
have to
outside
like
for a long
groom
time.
them
Yes.
probably frequently.
There's gonna be fur everywhere. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no. Wait, is there fur everywhere?
Probably.
Yeah.
They're fluffy, so.
You might have to get it trimmed.
Are we still on the buy? Wait, which one are we on? The
What do you mean?
setting?
The two
Settings,
two semicircles touching, not intersecting, but touching.
Touching? Okay, we're on the buy more
Yeah.
phone? Okay.
Is
I
it
think
like-
obviously, because my input is louder. I don't know if it's because I'm leaning into the mic.
Yeah, I think it's because you're leaning into the mic. Technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there were times when I was looking at the waveform when Michael was like leaning back and it was just like really tiny, but I'm sure you can still hear it if you boost it.
Yeah, I turned up the gain. It's top bit.
Okay. But otherwise, it looks good. It's been looking
If I
good.
want a Sammy,
Very
I know for
furry.
sure that's what like people call them Sammys.
It's not too bad. It wouldn't be my first choice, technically. I think a Shiba or a...
I wanted a Shiba as my first choice, and then I was reading and I was like, well, they're not good with other dogs.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So I'm like, if I want to take it to a dog park, that might not be the best, you know.
Yeah, don't get a rat.
I want a rat.
Yeah.
A rat, an
Or just a
actual
small,
rat.
no, like a small dog. I just call them rats because I don't really like them. Again, nothing against people who have them. I just don't personally
What's the
want
other
one.
word for? I'm not good at dog language, but what's a Rottweiler? Is that one? Is that what
That's
it's
a breed.
That's
a
a
breed?
certain breed.
Okay.
Yes.
But apparently, like mutts are a lot better to have because
Yes.
a large issue because a lot of these other dogs are kind of bred,
Inbred.
kind of not fully inbred. They still try to find other individuals that
Yeah.
are not. They're so breeded together that they have certain health conditions.
Yeah,
that
genetic.
continue. Yeah, genetic health conditions, and they're very consistent with it.
There was one specific one I was talking with my classmates about. They said it's like you could trace that, like any dog from that breed, you could trace back to the original 4 from England.
I'm thinking.
But I think like if I had to choose one, I'd probably get a mutt. Possibly. It's just probably a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah.
What's easier to deal with, a cat
It
or
was
a
the
dog?
Cavalier King Charles
cat.
Spaniel.
Cat.
Cats are much easier. You just
They kind of do things on their own.
yeah, you have your what's it called? You have your litter box.
Yeah.
You show the cat litter box. You either like feed the food once or twice a day or something like that, or 3 times a day,
Yeah.
or just leave the food out. Have water out. That's it. The cat knows where to go to the bathroom. Somehow, even when it's a kitten, it knows where to go to the bathroom and stuff. It's like, oh hey, this feels like I need to go to the bathroom here,
Yeah.
and that's it. Your cat wants attention sometimes. Play with it, etc. Go get medical stuff. Technically,
Checkups and stuff. Yeah.
sometimes cats don't want to be held, but you know, depending on the cat.
I always see those
Something like that.
memes of like the cat being held like this.
Oh yeah, just like a hug. Yeah.
It's just
give up.
like its hands are like way above its head, and it's just like
No.
put me down.
If I tried it with one of my cats, they would just like no. I hate like one of them's gonna like starts growling and stuff. The other
Growling and
one's like
scratching.
just moving around, just like no.
put me
No.
down.
Doesn't let me touch at all.
See, but a dog.
But a dog though.
The dogs are more happy to see.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, they're very much loyal to their owner, as long as you treat them right, of course.
That's like my only concern. It's like I want a dog, but I have to wait for like another couple of years. Like, even after I like move out, because I don't know if I'm gonna be like, you know,
Where you're gonna live.
where I'm
so,
gonna live.
yeah.
I'm gonna
You'd have to wait
travel.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
true.
I don't want to get like a puppy, you know, keep him for a year and then have to give him away if I have to move,
Yeah.
or like I can't even take them anywhere.
Yeah, that's something to worry about at least.
Yeah.
I agree.
I've been giving that some thought too.
It's waiting as well in a sense. I do want to get pets at one point. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of the
I also
situation.
picked what's it called, my dog, because I was like, oh, it's an added benefit because Adrian's not allergic to him.
Yeah, that's true.
And I asked Adrian, would you babysit my dog? He was
Just in
like
case.
really excited because he also wants a dog too.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
It's okay. You have the second best thing to a dog, Adrian.
He
Right.
acts like a dog.
I know.
Roll over. Good boy. Good boy.
acts like a dog. That's so funny.
Like, it's so funny.
It takes him a few times. You might need to get him a treat, but he sometimes, about 1/8 to about 1/10 of the time, he does what you ask. Probably a lower percentage than that, but if you give him a treat.
That's not gonna work. He's just gonna take the treat and just
really?
continue.
No,
to
you gotta let him do it first, and then you throw him the treat, right?
It doesn't work. He has
No?
zero positive reinforcement.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's
You take away his
the thing.
computer. There you go. Positive reinforcement.
That's negative reinforcement.
Negative reinforcement.
Same thing. Come on now.
I'm
Right.
surprised you know your psychology.
Yes, I know my psychology.
Reinforcement, it's surprising. I always somehow I forget. That's the most basic, positive, negative reinforcement, positive, negative punishment. Keep forgetting it.
I still remember we had that argument
Which
about
one?
negative reinforcement. How that works. With the example that I remembered from my teacher.
Oh,
They were like,
man.
no, it's not
What?
right.
Was that from your test?
Yes.
Yeah, that one was rough.
Was it
You're
not
right.
correct?
I was correct.
Oh.
He thought I was wrong.
Yeah.
What was it about?
So it's like, let's say you have the car alarming, right? Because you don't have your seatbelt on.
Okay.
You put your seatbelt on, it stops sounding.
Yeah.
It's negative reinforcement. Because you're taking away, you want to take away the sound. The sound itself deters
Yeah,
you
yeah.
from doing something.
What did I say it was?
You said it was positive. I was like, it's not positive.
Oh,
Not
Not
positive
positive.
reinforcement. I probably said positive punishment.
No,
Oh.
you said positive reinforcement. You
Oh,
were
that's
arguing me
stupid.
with that.
I thought I would have went the other way and said positive punishment.
Yeah, but I was like, no, it's not.
It technically is a positive punch.
It is
I can
positive
see-
punishment,
yeah, I can
yes.
agree.
Yeah.
But they're on reinforcement for the question.
I don't. God, dude.
They should make it as obnoxious as possible. Just nonstop.
The thing is, the funny thing about psychology is you think that in everything obviously is like the feedback loops obviously. That's how psychology is, and it's just like there's always the thing I always have in my mind is like, what if the feedback loop is so large because everything is because if you're gonna take real life environment, you're taking feedback from every stimuli. It's like, how are you gonna calculate that? It's like, oh shit. That's what psychologists are like. Oh,
I don't know.
psychology's so weird, dude. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every moment of it. My God, dude. It's like when you understand when you go into the professional world and you're like, or when you start to go into the research projects and stuff, you're like, God damn. Nothing is foolproof. No experiment to sort of solve the questions of life.
Yeah.
You can't technically solve it.
It's the same with like economics, really. Because there's just so many factors that go into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much do you weigh those factors or not?
Yep.
That's very true.
Like, I remember we spent I think a month in microeconomics on behavioral economics, and they're just like, this is just people would argue it's just sociology or psychology.
Psychology, not social. Well, can be social.
It's
It
both.
can, yeah.
Yeah.
Can be.
It's
'Cause
not a factor. Yeah.
it's a factor. Yeah.
Well, technically, there are people who kind of, at least for decision making and stuff, there's certain analytics that kind of behavioral
Yeah.
that do that exactly.
Yeah.
I think one of my professors, something like that, did research on that, or kind of does research on that in a sense, and largely it comes down to probably probabilities
Right.
and so forth. Like it's really in depth.
I'm wondering,
But, no.
so it's just crazy how everything kind of just intertwines and shit. That's crazy. Yeah.
So everything in the world is
Everything, dude. Oh my god.
What?
I follow a guy that's just he feels like he's God. I knew this guy from back in the heyday, and it was when he was starting to make music, and we started around the same time, and now he's just shit, and it's not shit posting, but he literally thinks he's one with the universe and shit now,
Oh, right.
and it's all his tweets are that. And I'm like, oh man.
He took shrooms.
No,
No, I don't know.
No, I don't know if he
I
took
don't know.
shrooms. He just thinks he's God.
You just gotta make videos like that. It's like the trees are connected to the sun.
There was a
trees are
tweet
connected.
chain of
Yeah.
20 tweets of that, and it was just I was scrolling, And I was like, oh no.
The sun's connected to the trees connected to the ground's connected to the water's connected to us. You see? It's all connected here.
And then it was so weird because then I think immediately after it was like a repost chain of like hentai, and I was like, I'm good. I think it's time to unfollow. I don't know what happened to him.
You just gotta be like, amen.
Amen,
Amen
brother.
to you, brother.
Amen, brother.
Keep on doing what you're doing. If it makes people happy, just there you
like,
go. Makes you happy.
God, I think that was like the first like time of me like, oh, that's what happened to that person in like 4 years. You know? I don't know if you guys ever had that moment. Have you had a moment where you met somebody from like 4 or 5 years ago? Like that was the last time you saw them?
I've seen them online, kind of.
Okay, so
partly,
you've
in a sense, not like
okay.
in person. You know?
Alright. Oh, okay, like so it's like say that like you knew a person like the last time you met this person was like 4 or 5 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and for some reason you saw a picture of him or whatever, and you're like, oh, so that's what he's doing now.
I've seen that on LinkedIn before.
Okay.
Technically,
Yes.
it's like, oh, that person's working for that company.
Was it like
That's impressive.
Was it
kind of,
okay?
or
Was it
sometimes.
okay? So it was impressive. I was gonna say like, was it a shocking sort of thing?
In some cases, yes, I think so. And a few cases, it's like, wow, she was like the top in the class. I remember she cheated so much.
Yeah.
And she's there now. That's screwed up. It's like that. I remember like thinking, okay, I remember in that one class and stuff. Like she got caught on her phone, even though like the teacher had a no policy, like
Yeah.
zero
phone
policy, like
policy,
no policy. If you're like taking an exam, you can't. If your phone's seen,
Yeah.
even like you're like she's taking.
You're
the
basically
test,
done, yeah.
And she didn't do that. I was like, wow, okay, that
That's some
should happen.
favoritism.
And number two is somebody I don't know if this is exact. Maybe he hasn't updated his page technically, but I remember somebody who was like, again, don't know if he opened his page, but he was very bright and stuff.
Yeah.
Semi an entrepreneur by the end of his senior year, and either he's still working at Food Lion, or he hasn't updated his LinkedIn page. I don't know, but anyways, he was a really bright guy,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
I mean,
Hope for
that
better for
would
him,
be
you know?
shocking. You know, it's like, oh man, that dude was the what do they call it in high school? Valedictorian.
I wouldn't say valedictorian, but
Yeah.
like still very bright in the sense of
Okay,
his
like say like
approaches.
you know this dude's smart, for lack of a better term. You know, this guy has a lot of upside, or like this guy is quote unquote cool. I don't know what any superlative you can put in, and then you're just like, damn.
The only thing I see
He's
is
working at the grocery store.
is simply it's like, of course, his like upbringing and stuff is not really amazing. Like he's probably was like the smartest. Like I don't know about his family exactly, but you know he grew up with like I think 8 different brothers and sisters and stuff. Like
Okay.
a single dad in a sense. So of course he was really bright, but I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, so I should probably keep in contact.
What was yours?
I had none.
None.
None?
Okay. Well, the thing is,
Honestly,
oh, yeah,
I
this is something we
forgot.
talked
Well,
to
we're gonna
consistently.
put this on the record. Michael doesn't burn bridges. He forgets where they are.
That's fair.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's fair.
He forgets where they are. That's all that needs to be said for that.
I don't remember people.
Except for the bridges that you still have. Other than that, what's it called? Damien, was it? I think.
We saw him at
You
McDonald's.
saw him at McDonald's.
That was years ago. That was like
Still,
fresh out of high school.
No, wait, no. We saw him at Witch Witch. A little after, a couple
Oh,
years
we
after.
did. We did. Yeah, that's right.
So, again, Damien, old friend in high school, technically.
I knew that
Haven't
guy.
Very
spoken
funny
to him
guy, or
in
semi-funny
years.
guy.
He was hilarious.
Hispanic, or I guess American Hispanic, technically.
He was El Salvadorian.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. I
I
guess.
still can't believe that one time, the only time he ever got sent to detention was because of Caleb.
What happened exactly?
Care to
We pushed him over
explain?
we pushed him over the edge.
Well, what happened to him?
So, all semester, we were giving him packets of mayo. We know he hates mayo. And then
Oh, wow.
there was a napkin. We would always hand napkins, and we would, spell out his name in mayo and just hand it to him, or just put
During
it on his
lunchtime?
lunch.
During
on his
lunchtime?
Lunch tray, yes. And then
Which one does
eventually, what's it called? I think Caleb slipped think maybe a semi-open or an open packet of like mayo or ketchup. I don't know. Someone hit him with a packet of ketchup, and then he turned around and just started beating the person behind him. with a
Thinking
packet
that
of
was
ketchup.
him.
Wait, it was
Oh, wait,
originally
what if I-
Caled who had done it, but Caled was gone. He was already gone. He left the lunchroom,
Oh.
and he started beating this other kid who knew nothing about what was going on, who also got sent to detention because, you know, they just started hitting each other with open packets of ketchup.
Wait, was I there? I might have been there.
don't-
I just forgot
I don't know
about
if you
it.
were there. It was like right when everyone was exiting the lunchroom, so there was a lot of people congregated together, really close space, and it was just ketchup packets,
I think I
open
might have
ketchup
been there.
packets, just smacking people
Oh, boy.
with those.
That's one of those school fights that I wish I saw.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't there. I was in class.
But it wasn't really a fight. It was just like
Just
I'm just gonna like
silly,
throw
you know,
ketchup
like
packets at you.
That are
well,
open.
Here's the thing, most schools are like okay.
Oh, I remember now. What happened was, I think Caled or someone dropped a packet and he stepped on it and it got all over his pants.
Oh,
And that just set him off. And that was after I had left because I left earlier than they did for lunch, for something, or I don't remember. I was in class, and I had already written his name in mayo on the napkin, and I left. I wasn't there to see what
does
the
that,
aftermath.
I'm gonna spill your name out in mayonnaise.
I think eventually, the plan was to bring an open jar of mayo, like a fresh open jar of mayo, to his table.
and just like someone just spoonful, just eating it, just
Either that, or we just like we just place it next to him.
yeah.
Don't talk about it. Just leave it there. But yeah, I think Caleb took it too far. I mean, there was that, and then his pranks he would do on the physics teacher. I don't remember his name.
Caleb?
Yeah.
Was it the one that does like partly AP physics or AP? I think he helped out a little bit with chemistry. I think he did AP chemistry as well, technically.
I thought he just did physics.
No, he did chemistry once in a while.
Okay.
Technically.
Yeah,
I think I know
but-
what you're talking about.
Caleb would come in every day for like 3 weeks. He would leave a single fresh from the fridge egg on his desk. Right before everyone leaves at lunch. He was never caught. He was never caught until someone ratted him out on the last
really?
day. But it got to the point, it was like, first 2 days he was just leaving one. Third day it was two. And then it would just multiply until eventually, I think it was like the fifth egg, because like some days it would still just be one. He would do it infrequently.
Wait, did
The
he like?
amount.
Was there any like punishment or anything like discussion between them
No.
at all? Do you know?
No.
I mean, he got free eggs at least.
He did.
Hopefully, I don't know if he used them.
But it's like, I think eventually he was just like, he knew who it was, and he was just like, whoever's leaving eggs looking directly at him, they're gonna get detention if they don't stop.
Hey man, free eggs, dude. I wouldn't complain.
But yeah, I was like, Caleb, how do you even do this? He was like, yeah, I would like get an egg from home, from the fridge, stick it in my pocket, keep it safe until I get to class.
Dude, how does that not break?
That's what I'm saying. He put it in his pocket.
I mean, he was very careful, right?
I mean, he rode the bus too. I mean,
That's the thing. It's like rattles and you're in the bus.
It's like
people
he
are
had,
rowdy.
he has a little sister to take care of, right?
well, that's like after.
That was way after.
Oh, it's
That was
after.
after
Oh,
high
never
school,
mind.
yeah.
Oh, my bad. But again, if you think about it, I think at least in one class, I think in middle school, something like that, maybe early high school, we had, or maybe elementary school, whatever. We had to take care of an egg. Maybe it's just like relying on that experience of just like we have to take care of an egg, make sure nothing happens to
Did
it.
you guys,
Yeah.
did you guys ever have that? I never did.
I never did.
I think I might have. I
we
think
never
I did.
had to do any of that. Like
think so.
take care of the whatever object and then report in the next day.
Yeah.
I can't remember of a time that we ever had that.
I was like early on, I think, at least for me. Also for that one physics teacher and stuff. Like, did you have him?
No, I never had him.
Michael never took physics.
I never took
Okay.
physics. I should have took physics. I would have enjoyed that more than
Physics
chem.
is so fun.
Maybe. Yeah, he did it in a very entertaining way still to learn it. But also, he had some dolls, like not really like just like random things. I think they're like school related, maybe something like that. But then like randomly he talked about stories about like randomly he would come in and there'd be positioned in different like sexual positions every day, supposedly. And I also remember because another aspect is of course he's like 40s, early 50s or so he's
Yeah.
pretty old. But like in college he was in a fraternity, right?
Oh, boy.
Very hardcore fraternity in a
Yeah.
sense. And he used to tell some stories about that individually. He also gave advice to the guys in some cases.
I remember that. Yeah.
Of approaching. He's like, you start with like a little bit of touching fingers, touching hands, you know, slowly move up, arm around shoulder, etc. And then, you know, touchy. And also about the magnetic effect between the guys and girls. Like, you can't get too close to them, but you can't get too far away from them, etc.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how, like, physics, this is how it works between guys and girls.
That would be a great physics teacher.